why you're here. Hello and welcome back to Core Bike Chat with me, John Underhill.
Me, Aidan King.
And today we have a special guest from Ride Rap.
Oliver Jones.
Oliver Jones.
Yeah.
Ollie from Ride Rap.
Ollie from Ride Rap.
You prefer Oliver or Ollie?
I don't care. It's either probably the nicer things I get called, I think, to be honest. So, no, I'm easy. Whatever.
For the full Oliver Jones.
At all times, yeah. From now on, yeah. No, I'll go with Ollie most of the time, I suppose.
So Oliver Jones, how far could
Hang on, it sounds like the mom's in the room getting told off again.
So, we've got Ollie with us today. Ollie is from Ride Rap. Ollie, rather than me explain it really badly, what do Ride Rap do?
I'll explain it really badly for you instead. So, we make frame protection components. So, clear metal glass protective kits that are tailored to bikes, every different size and shape and model, specific to the bike. So that's what we do, and it keeps your bike looking good and fresh and protects it.
Nice.
From stuff. It's quite simple. It really is that simple, I suppose.
I know you said to me basically make stickers for bikes.
Yeah, I like to tell people I stare at bikes for ages that I want to buy and make stickers. Yeah, which is also kind of true, I suppose.
in the hope that you sell enough stickers to then buy that
Yeah, I basically spend thousands of pounds in my head every week in the back of my van staring at stuff I can't afford but really want. Yeah, I tend to try and leave my wallet at home because it's dangerous. Yeah.
Every time you get a bike in the van, it's like, right,
Yeah,
buy.
it is kind of that bad. Like you phone and say, I'd like a kit for this bike. I'm like, that's really nice. I want to go and look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. That's part of my job too. But mostly I just want to go and stare at this new bike that I haven't seen before. So it's, it's weird. I'm weird.
We're all weird.
Yeah.
Where would be a boring place if we were all normal?
You're not allowed on the podcast if you're not weird. So.
I appreciate the solidarity. Thanks. I feel better now.
That's the only reason we got the
Yeah, he's
podcast.
like, oh, you're strange.
It's just so Aidan and I can talk. And it doesn't- So you come all the way down from where you're based today to measure a bike.
I did, yeah. So part of what I do is measuring bikes that we don't currently have kits designed for. And then the clever people at Ride Rap, usually based in Canada, design kits and make it so we can design a kit for the bike that covers, we try and aim for about 95% coverage of the bike, but also in a way that fits around all the curves, that you can fit easily, so you can get the squeegee and tools in. So once you've done it, it looks nice and stays on and you get a nice finish to it. Yeah, so I do the bit of collecting the data, so measuring the bikes, and also show people how to fit the kits as well. So you guys got a chance of being able to do it in an effective, sort of good quality way, kind of things that you can sell to customers. Yeah. Yes.
Can we tell the listeners what bike you measured? Or
Can do.
are you going to announce it by then?
I don't need to announce it, do I?
Well, I think you should because it's a very special bike.
So it's the Pinarello Dogma F 2025 in white and black.
It's very nice.
Predominantly white.
It's very nice. It's very nice.
It's a very nice bike, yeah.
Nice silver graphics. I've got a thing for silver graphics, really.
It's really tidy.
Yeah.
So I work with Ride Rap. So Core Bike Fit is a Ride Rap supplier, and that's how I met Ollie. And Ollie came down and gave me some training, and then we got chatting about how it's helpful to Ollie in his job if they can measure things that they don't currently have on the system. So my Pinarello Dogma for the wall and for me to ride turned up Friday, and I invited Ollie down to measure it.
And I was really excited to see this new bike and thought I should probably do some work, so came down. Weirdly, I had a look on the website. We've got a tally, like a number on the website that changes. I looked and we've got just I think it's like 348,000 something different kit combinations at the moment. So we'll have one more once I update, once I get home. It's a lot, isn't it?
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And so Ollie's come down and measured the bike today in a very clever way.
Yeah.
Very, very fancy process.
Tape measure, pencils, some sketching. Yeah.
I saw you with some greaseproof paper and a bit of chalk at one point.
Yeah.
Turn around and use as Etch-a-Sketch.
Shook it's disappeared. That's cool.
Yeah. It's like the modern day Van Gogh.
And then we strong armed him into coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
With us weirdos.
Yeah.
Because he passed the weirdo test.
Solidarity and weirdo. Yeah.
So Ollie, how how long have you been working at Ride Wrap, and what appealed to you about working there?
I've worked at Ride Wrap for just under 2 years. And I guess for a long time, I worked in mental health for about 10 years previous to this. And I've wanted to work with bikes again for a long time, because it's all I'm interested in and all I've ever really been interested in. But because of that, I didn't want to make. I was really worried about making work my hobby and vice versa, and it may be impacting on that. So I've worked in bike shops a lot in the past before, which is great, but it's often taken up a lot of my bike riding time and made what's probably the most important thing in my life feel like work sometimes. So I was really wary of doing that. So I saw a job advertised at this company. I like what they do. I like that type of product. I'd used their product before. I mean, it's quite a long sort of process of applying for the job and speaking to people. I got to know a lot of the people, and it seemed like a really good place to work. And I've been there for 2 years, or just under 2 years, I was saying to you guys, which is usually I'm really bored of doing anything that's not bike riding at that point. But I'm still fascinated by this. And I think a big part of it is I spend a lot of time staring at really nice new bikes that lots of people haven't seen yet, which is really cool. But also a lot of the way I measure bikes and stuff is quite a mystery to me. So that's quite novel. So yeah, nearly 2 years.
Yeah, it's quite interesting hearing you say coming from a mental health background, because a lot of people ride bikes to help with their mental health.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm in a similar sort of position with my coaching, because I'm a chef by trade, and I'm still a chef, but I've kind of easing into
transitioning.
Yeah, into being a coach, but at the same time, I don't want to stop riding my bike. I don't want to stop having to focus on my training and my events and stuff as well. So I think finding that balance is like key.
Absolutely. I think for me, it's one of those things that, well, it's a constant changing balance through life, isn't it? I mean, when I was sort of 16 and thinking, do I leave school or do I stay and study? And I was like, oh, I'll go and work in a bike shop. Then I'm physically closer to bikes most of the time. It didn't matter about the future because but the life changes and different responsibilities, and I've managed to dodge almost all responsibility now, and I'm in my 40s, which I think is really good. I've done really well here. So but who knows, maybe responsibilities will catch up with me one day. Yeah. I doubt it pretty fast, but we'll see.
Maybe if you covered yourself in ride wrap, all your responsibilities.
Yeah, to be fair, that could work. Glass finish, grease it up, just slide away from that.
Rider wrap.
I'm not teaching you to apply that.
Get in the back of the van and be measured.
Dear. I will do that bit.
Can you imagine?
I don't want to blink in case I imagine and see it. I might just...
traffic warden coming around, can't you?
You pay for your parking tickets and you make sure no one's knocking.
People getting in and out of your van.
It's a different profession. I might have worked in that in the past.
There's far too many wrong thoughts in my head now.
Yeah.
Just bring it back to being relatively sensible. So Ride Wrap comes in Ride Wrap there's 3 different grades, isn't there?
Yes, we do. What we're all about is the sort of tailored protection, which is specific to model, size, year. You have it's specific to each bike. Yeah. And that's really what we specialise in. It's, like I said, 95% coverage. It really does cover nearly all the bikes. Pretty seamless looking as well, because it covers so much. And then we do a product called Covered, which is up to about 60% protection. And it's more of a universal fitting product, but it's not universal. We don't just do our covered kit. There's covered kits for road bikes and gravel bikes, e-mountain bikes, e-hardtails, steel hardtails, jump bikes. So it's still quite specific, but it's universal to type of bike. And again, it comes in both the finishes. And that requires a bit of trimming to fit, but it costs less as a product because there's less film and less coverage. And then we do an essential product, which is again the same dynamic as the essential product for different types of bikes. But again, ever so slightly less coverage. It covers the essential pieces like down tube, outside the stays, that kind of thing. Again, they all come in gloss and matte finish, all installed in the same way. They all come with the same installation pack with squeegee, microfiber cloth, some alcohol wipes to prep the bike first. The the soap that we put in the solution. All you need is a squirty bottle and some fresh water. That's all you need that we don't supply.
Yeah, I used to use a Visiframe on my mountain bikes.
I've used their product too before.
And
That's cool.
I tried applying it myself and it went completely wrong. I ended up getting another set and taking it to a bike shop.
Right. That's why it's one of those things that I'm really fascinated by people's experience of doing it, particularly when they're working in the shop, so they haven't got a choice. Yeah. It seems to be quite Marmite. Some people kind of love doing it. I really like installing it, but I consider myself, I'm an easily amused person. I just like a couple of hours to put some stickers on something. I find it really good fun, therapeutic. But some people are like, yeah, I can do it, but
I enjoy it until it starts going wrong.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no, because then it just seems to drastically go downhill.
Yeah, it runs away from you, kind of thing. I guess it's one of those things, isn't it? It's not. I genuinely think as well. I don't think I'm the best person in the world at doing it. But I think if I can do it to a pretty nice standard, like anyone can. But it just takes time.
Yeah.
To get it quick and really efficient, it's just a practice kind of thing.
Yeah, it's such a great idea as well.
It's
because it is like an extra insurance policy on your bike, especially if you're buying a nice shiny Pinarello.
Available at Core Bike.
Available at Core Bike Fit. Yeah, because it's not overly. It is nothing's cheap in the world.
No,
but in terms of when you look at it on top of the cost of your bike to protect the frame, which is the thing that you need to protect, because obviously wheels, drivetrain, you can upgrade and change as they wear out, but the frame itself, nice carbon frame, it's a pretty decent price. That's
it. It's an interesting one. So I've used this kind of product for a long time on a mountain bike, because I always scratch them in uplift vehicles. So we're talking about sort of racing downhill earlier, crashing. Luckily, I'm sure we'll now have said this, but I never seem to sort of wreck my bikes crashing. It's putting them in wagons next to other people's bikes and stuff. But for me, it's always been about resale, because I usually can't afford the bike I've got or the next bike I've probably already ordered. So resale is really important for me, and it's great for that. But it keeps your bike looking fantastic, and the film's generally quite a bit more durable than paint finish. I noticed, and you probably would notice on roads actually, because the crap on the roads is really quite abrasive, but sort of everything sort of dulls and wears away your paint finish, and the film's just super durable, and it has some healing properties, so heat, sunlight kind of thing, gets rid of little swirls and scuffs and stuff, and it deals with being cleaned over and over again. You just treat it like paint.
Yeah, I've got a paint scuff on my Monda road bike.
Yeah.
Not that it's eating away at you or anything. It's
because it's white.
Has it kind of got dirty in the...
I should have just protected it, shouldn't I? When I bought it 2 years ago.
Next one.
Wait, yeah,
2 years, that's quite a long time ago. I think it's new bike time soon.
Yeah. Save them for a TT bike. That's what I keep telling myself.
Yeah. Nearly convinced himself 3 times to save for a TT bike.
But I was adamant that I don't want a Pinarello, because I've always had treks. I had trek mountain bikes. And when John got the first delivery of them, we come in, I was like, I want one.
Really difficult to persuade you.
Yeah.
And then you change your mind again, and now it's in the dogma.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I said to you last time I was down here, there's a new gravel bike I'd like, and that I think I've been waiting. You said I've been saving for a new gravel bike. All my friends have got e-mountain bikes, and it just hasn't appealed to me at all. But I get a lot of grief, like maybe 2 or 3 phone calls a week, and upwards of sort of 5 to 10 messages a week, just telling me I'm a moron and to buy an e-bike.
I had one.
I borrowed one of my friends this weekend and went out with all my friends who now have e-bikes, and I was like, part of me thought I'll either shut them up or it's going to cost me 6,000 quid on Monday morning, and part of me just came to terms with either of them.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking, it's really going to eat into that new gravel bike fund. Fortunately, I had a great time, because it was really good to ride with people that I don't get to ride with as much, because they've got a moped and I haven't.
I found it really good for like bike park days out.
Yeah,
because you can just you can just get loads of runs in. Like when we all had electric in the van, so when we had lunch, we would just charge them up, and it was really good for that. I mean, descending, and I used to do a lot of enduro, so like I don't think I preferred riding what they call the analog bike.
Yeah.
It just because it feels like riding a bike. not just being on a tank going down there.
Yeah, I agree. I think the first couple of runs I did, I kind of, this is, it's different to my normal mountain bike. It takes a bit more slowing down. It doesn't, it's like a torpedo. When you sort of get to a breaking point, you go, oh, it's not slowing down.
Yeah.
But it adapts to that quite easily. And I was actually quite impressed with how well it gripped. I'd find it wouldn't slow down as much, which was terrifying. But by the time I got to the particular corner, it gripped more.
Yeah, you can absolutely rail around the corner.
But what I found, and this is going to sound so stupid, I didn't really like how it carried me uphill. It felt soulless, and I always joke I like being miserable and suffering. I don't, but I think I might do.
Yeah.
I got kind of bored of just whizzing up the hill, and it wasn't easy. I was out of breath. I think it's probably peaked my heart rate quite a lot, but without, I don't know. There's no struggle.
You get to the top and you don't feel like you've earned it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and maybe maybe it says a bit more about like what I value out of the sport, or what it. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, for me, it was coming down the trails, and like if I'm going through like a route section, or I like to feel like where I'm putting the bike and where the bike is. Whereas on that, it just eats up everything.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, yeah, it was probably quicker. But
yeah, I might not have been quick on it, but
I didn't find it as fun.
Yeah, all my friends told me it was like riding. It felt like riding a downhill bike from sort of 10 years ago. That's exactly what it felt like, which is great. But I don't know. Part of me was worried I'd get back and be like, right, okay, I've got to buy one of these. But I'm happy to borrow one. But
and when they go wrong, they cost you more money.
Well, yeah, but I'm generally kind of homeless and disgusting and don't spend money anywhere else. I can live with that. It's just new bike stuff, isn't it? It's kind of exciting. But fortunately, I'm relieved I don't need to buy one of those yet. That's a long tangent. I'm not buying an e-bike.
No, it's good though. Did it have a ride wrap on it?
Yeah, it did actually.
It did?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it did.
That's good.
One I actually fitted as well.
Yeah. Maybe that's why you didn't like it.
Maybe might have had something to do.
I was going to say the suffering uphill sounds like your secret roadie.
I always think of myself, I've ride road bike a bit. I've done that fairly recently. I got my first road bike in, I think, 2007, I think. I used to ride a lot more road than I do now, mainly because I don't have a road bike, I've got a gravel bike. But I ride a lot of gravel bike in the summer, yeah.
That probably explains why you like suffering riding up hills if you ride gravel.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, just all the kind of uphill of a mountain bike, but with a really inappropriate tool to do it. Yeah.
Makes it more fun though.
Yeah, it kind of, I suppose. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I just like the exploring bit, I suppose.
We have these pauses.
Yeah.
Thought there was going to be we're going to talk about exploring or something.
You might do.
Is there some adventures that I need to know about?
I don't think so. Is that?
Aidan's tours. But don't get in the car.
Oh, right, okay.
Don't get in the car with Aidan.
No. Long story short, we went to London and I got us lost a little bit.
Once or twice.
Whilst walking.
It's all good fun. So how long has Ride Rap been going?
2018, I believe, Ride Rap started.
So 6-7 years?
Yeah, back then. Started off in Whistler in Canada, which is still where the headquarters are, and where most of the design work and all the cool, interesting things happen, all the development happens. Have you two ever been there?
No, I want to.
I went there once. I thought it was going to be a once in a lifetime kind of thing. I went 2022, just before I actually started working for Ride Rap, actually. And when you sort of like, this is expensive, but I want to go once, and then you get back and think, I'll probably work. Yeah, I'll spend money. I haven't got to go again. But it's really good. It's great. It's really nice. A really stunning sort of ski resort with probably the most famous mountain bike park on the planet. But all the towns around it have arguably much better bike riding if you just pedal up or shuttle up in a truck, which is it's really cool. Except bears. Bears are quite scary. Saw lots of bears. I think the snow conditions when I was there. I'm not used to things that can eat me. It's really odd, but yeah, cool place. But that's where most of the Ride Rap stuff happens. And then in the UK, we've got a base in Surrey where we do our production from. We've got a couple of guys that work there, and my boss is based there, and I travel remotely measuring bikes and showing people how to fit stuff. We've got some guys in Europe that do my job too. We've got a base in Colorado where we do production, and we've got a group of guys who do bits and pieces there, and someone who again, does my job, traveling around, measuring stuff, keeping the database up to date. And in Santa Cruz in California, we've got a shop that does the same, and now in Melbourne in Australia.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, quite a lot actually. Sorry, every time I listen to one, I was like, oh, yeah, it's quite global now.
Yeah,
which is cool.
No wonder you've got so many bikes on you.
Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'd love to take all. I mean, it was probably mostly me. It wasn't mostly me at all. I might have added 5, but yeah, all around the world. It's pretty cool.
it's pretty interesting thing to see it's grown. And
It really is. It's still the same 2 guys own the company. Like my boss Brandon, who runs my team, he was like employee number 3. Like so everyone kind of stays there. And so like the guys in Slovenia who do my job, they at one point worked at the Whistler shop on the production line making the kits. And yeah, so like people, I think it sounds like you get stuck here. Yeah. And you can't leave ever.
Yeah. Once you're in, you're stuck.
You're in for life. It's kind of like the mafia, I think.
You up.
Yeah. I think you're leaving a coffin.
Yeah. Small ride wrap box.
Yeah. I'm not scared.
He died doing what he enjoyed.
Yeah.
Bikes.
Stuck him into his coffin.
Oh, this has got luck.
Yeah, great. But the kits are really cool because they come in a ride wrap box and they're all numbered, and then you get a set of instructions on the interwebs, so you know which one's which.
Yes. So there's lots of cool things we do, which set us apart from competition. Like the number of kits we do, the amount of coverage we do, the way we design the kits so it's nice and easy to install. We've designed our own film, so we don't use automotive film. We've got the only bike specific film, which is it's probably a bit, well, no, it is. It's I had to look this up at one point. It's called Lotus Pro, and it's 10 mil, and it's not millimeters, but it's about 1,000th of an inch, and it's not an average rounded up. It's consistently that kind of width, which is kind of unheard of in that kind of stuff. So it's thicker, it's slightly softer. All the glues and stuff are designed to not damage your paint should you have to take them off, and nice and easy to fit. And we do all these cool things, but for me, being a gentleman racing through his 40s, who's never been to the optician, the fact that we do a nice sort of a different kind of background to the pieces, the numbers, the instructions, which are really easy to not just read, like it's easy to see. Yeah. Like I can see all the stuff we do, and that makes it really easy to use for the senior gent like myself. So I think that's actually one of the cooler things about the product that we do.
It comes in nice little like.
Yeah, it's nice. It's
blue
nice
tube,
packaging, and all the branding's really cool. And
stickers on the to tell you what's inside it. I just
Yeah.
remembered what the bike was that I sold a kit for the other day.
Ah, okay.
It sounds to Cutthroat.
Ah, yeah.
Which is a really nice bike.
Yes. I've seen one of those.
It's a really nice, like when you get it, it's like opening the box is a nice experience, and all the different bits and pieces inside it. It's definitely well put together.
That is, I'm a sucker for like, but see, actually no, exclusively in bike stuff, like really cool branding and stuff like that. And I think that's something we do really well. All the stuff looks nice. Even the van I've got, I think it looks really cool.
The discreet van you're driving.
It's a little tiny thing. You'd never guess what I do.
It was funny because when I walked up from parking my car in the other car park, I messaged John saying, "Whereabouts in the car park are you?" And then I walked around the corner. I was like,
I think for the first 6 months, I'd sort of I do a lot of driving. Obviously, I cover this whole of the UK. And I was like, people are staring at me. What's going on? All right, okay, yeah. And in fairness, the vehicle I had before wasn't super discreet. It was a van, but it was bright yellow, like an old AA van. So maybe people are staring at me for different reasons now.
But I think it goes a long way, like brands investing in like advertising, and because like coming from a chef background, like you eat with your eyes. Like before you eat anything, you see it, and it's the same with if you buy branded products like Sturk. You buy anything, comes in a nice Sturk box, and then you open it, and then you've got your products inside. So products coming in like nice labelled up boxes and rolls and stuff. It really does go a long way. Because if everything just turned up to you in a plain cardboard box, when John orders loads of stuff, he has no clue what's what. But you know, it happens everywhere else. You know, you buy a Pinarello, it's got a nice Pinarello box. Like, I think it goes a long way. Like investing for brands to invest in advertising, and
it's part of that experience as well, isn't it? Because you like get that little bit of anticipation about opening something because it's got the thing on it, you know what it is, and then you open it and you don't know what to expect, and obviously there's unboxing videos on the internet about everything now, so you can sit and watch someone open something which you've not bought, which is kind of cool if you want to know how that goes.
You mean like we did for the Wahoo Ace?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's part of the experience, and it ties you in emotionally with the item. And then when you install it on your bike, you know it's protected, and you've got 95% coverage, and it's been custom measured and designed and cut and put on, and you've done it, and you've spent that time on your own bike and invested in looking after it. It's just, there's a bigger bond with you and the bike.
I completely agree. I think like the more and sort of the older I've got, the more I've realised like I'm the customer for these kind of things. I really am, because I'm a complete sucker for for just bike stuff in general. But yeah, that whole experience, I love it. And like the stuff I tend to buy in terms of bikes and things, things like that get me and draw me in, or like I might meet people from a particular brand, or go for like quite often you see people riding or ride with them, and you're like, that really buys you into a brand. Seeing the different parts of things that you value, it's not just about a product. Whereas if you'd asked me when I was 20, it'd be like, I would have naively thought it was all about the product.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, it is, but it's also not. The product obviously has to be solid, but there's a whole other part of the experience in there. I think that's a great way of putting the experience of it.
And I think it's, that extends outside of the product as well, but as a business owner working with Ride Wrap, like being able to pick up the phone and talk to you, and it's not a difficult conversation, it's a funny, cheery,
hopefully most of the time,
brummy,
when you can understand, get Google Translate. I should help us out.
But like, I pick brands to work with that have also got nice people. So because ultimately, if it goes, I'm not saying that things go wrong, but in business things go wrong.
Yeah, of course.
The phone up, and it's the person on the other end of the phone. It's not the thing. It's how you interact with humans, and that's really important to me.
I completely agree. Just life. It seems life is less about at the moment, but like I feel like we lose out when it is. But it seems to be less about interacting with other people, and we think we lose a bit of the quality of life and stuff like that with not doing that as much. And it's great to be efficient, and you don't always need to speak to people, but if you want to, or you do need to, like, it's great to be able to, and that the person at the other end of the phone to be like at least receptive and understanding, and have half a chance of solving whatever issues you've got or making stuff better. That's hopefully what we try and achieve. But yeah, I'm with you. It seems easier that way.
You're not on hold for 4 hours.
Well, he just doesn't answer.
Not today.
Give me a chance, phone. I am driving.
Yeah. Funny because I can see,
You've just gone past the bloody van.
Just sat in the lay-by eating a burger.
I have to say, sometimes when I do sneak off and pretend I'm working but really go out for a bike ride, there's often no phone signal, but just send me a message. Not that if I do that, I'm working
on
definitely
8 hours a day. All I do is work. I never
training's gone up this week.
But just going back to, because it's come to me, like putting the Ride Wrap on yourself on your new shiny bike. My dad always taught me, if you buy a new car, like go outside and spend 3 or 4 hours washing it. Because you'll learn all about the car and where there's problems with it, or like what works and how things are. And it's quite a similar sort of experience putting Ride Wrap on your frame, because you are inspecting every inch of your frame as you stick Ride Wrap to it. And so you get that really like...
It sounds weird, but you get like an intimate knowledge of how your bike works there. You do notice things like that, and contours to the frames. To keep it sensible. But yeah, you do.
But especially on something like the Pinarello, because the contours and the shapes are so unique.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it?
And you can really see the asymmetry of the frame as well, which isn't... I mean, it's easy to see if you know what you're looking for, but like actually up close looking at it and having a proper like play is quite a nice experience.
See, that bit that you're talking about there is what I go through every time I measure a bike.
Yeah.
So like, this is why I fall in love with so many bikes that I can't buy. It's such a problem.
But you also think like it's a product, so someone's had to design it. So there's a thought process behind why is it that shape? Why is it that big? Why does it look like that? Why have they decided to swap the paint there and change the paint colour there? And all those things, because it's not just like someone's going, "Oh, we'll just do that."
It does. It really makes you appreciate what's gone into something like this bike, doesn't it? Like it's complicated. Like you say, even the paint, the graphics, the transitions between stuff.
Well, I think that's when you realise the why they cost so much.
Oh
versus some of the other brands out there that aren't as nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's all right. You've convinced me. I want one. All right. Stop.
One of the largest size of Pinarello.
I was going to say, if you know what size.
Big.
Biggest.
Triple
top
XL.
of the scale.
Yeah. No, it's just cool because it is like a proper learning about your frame as well, and you know it's protected. You know that the bike's gonna stay tidy. And
That's it. And you could, what happens a bit more often with road bikes is people leaning them up and scratching them. And the film, if you do scratch a bit of the film, it's got some healing properties. Maybe it's lightly heating it with a heat gun will solve it. A bit of sunlight. But if you do scratch through it, you can get replacement pieces. So you can keep on top of it, looking fresh and stuff.
It's a bit like we were saying earlier with another product that you don't really realise you need it until you need it. It was the same when I wrapped mountain bikes and stuff. You kind of forget about it, and then you come off or a rock flicks up and hits your frame, and you can hear it. And you're like, oh, hang on, I've got it wrapped. It's all right. But if like me, for example, you don't do that, and you get a mark on it, you're like, that's there.
It eats away. It just doesn't.
I've contemplated just selling the Trek and getting a new bike completely, just because of that one.
Yeah. But those are the daft decisions we make, aren't they? Like, I can't ride that now because it's been sullied because there's a mark on it.
I've also got to remember that I've ridden 30,000 kilometres on my bike.
Yeah, you have ridden it quite a lot.
Yeah.
Which is why all the components have died. And we've had to change most of them.
Yeah.
And continue to need to maintain it. It's actually the first time in many, many weeks recording a podcast where Aidan's bike isn't here.
It's normally on the roller. It's actually in my car.
Yeah, normally having work done to it.
Yeah. It was actually in the podcast last week. It was behind me.
Yeah.
Did it have a Brummie accent? No, good.
It's quite shiny though.
Yeah, man. I feel like I should have put some sun cream on top of this with this big light.
No, you're right.
I do burn my head in the first 14 degrees we get in spring.
Yeah.
It's quite painful.
The one and only 14 degrees that we get.
Then it gets quite leathery and it's good for the rest of the summer. It's good.
Nice.
Yeah. Not sure nice is the way I'd describe it, but
it's a process you got to go through.
Every year, same process.
That's the thumbnail and the title sorted.
Yeah.
Guidance for bold people.
Yeah. Manage your scalp.
Ride wrap for bold people.
Yeah. Actually, no, I usually start off with, I'll get one kind of nice sunny kind, and it doesn't have to be hot. Just like I say, 14 degrees is typically the thing. And why have you got stripes on your head? Because I wore a helmet in 14 degrees and it's been dark for 6 months. You end up stripy head and then you get a good quality burn all over. Yeah. You two don't need to worry about this. It's not fair.
No, not there anyway.
I'm all right for the minute, I think.
Yeah.
I thought that at one point. I was wrong.
So is there any... Oh dear. So what, is there anything, you probably can't say, but maybe you can, is there anything Ride Wrap are working on, new stuff? Or is there things to look out for?
I'm not so sure in terms of new stuff that we haven't launched, but we've recently, I think at the back end of last year, released rim protection.
Rim protection, yeah.
Which is quite interesting. I'm going to keep a straight face. Which is...
How do you measure that?
Tape measure again.
Aidan's gone. We'll cut Aidan out of it.
You've seen the measuring process, haven't you?
It reminds me of the bath uni.
Yeah. It's another story for another day. We'll keep that one out.
Yeah. Is there going to be an age restriction on that podcast?
That will be an age restriction.
Okay.
Not suitable for kids.
Yeah.
But we do rim protection. Aluminium, carbon rims, same two finishes. You don't choose it specifically for the rim. There's two measurements. So there's a nice tool on the website that tells you how to measure from the rim depth to the spoke holes.
Yep.
And I believe they come in 3/4 pieces to protect your rims. This got launched, and there's a mountain bike website called Pink Bike. It's famous for having like horrendous comment section. And I was quite interested and read the comments about, and lots of people were saying it's great. A lot of people were saying, what the hell is this all about? Yeah. But interestingly, I've got a set of carbon wheels on one of my mountain bikes, and they just seem to pick up marks and just chip the lacquer off them. And like, I guess that to some extent that's structural on that type of rim. On aluminium rims, it's really annoying when they get a scratch on, but it's not structural. But on carbon stuff, it kind of is. So So if anything that deflects any of that's a pretty good idea, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing to. That's probably the first new thing that we've done in a while, I think.
Rim protection.
Yeah.
I just went the other way with my carbon mountain bike rims, and first ride out completely folded the front wheel.
Oh,
Rim protection wouldn't say that.
No, not so.
But no, I think, like, looking back now, that would have been something that I probably would have bought.
Do you know what? We launched this after I'm about a year into these carbon wheels, and I definitely, when they were new, I definitely would have done it. But I've got quite a lot of marks on them, weirdly. But yeah, I actually would. I was reading the comments, and I was like, oh, that hurts my feelings. I would buy this even if I didn't work here.
Especially mountain biking, because like
you just hear stuff bobbling over the rims, hooks on uplift trailers, the sleeve marks. It's horrible, and
I used to love diving into pink bike forums.
yeah, it's.
I would never input, but just sitting there scrolling through, it's like, this is brilliant.
Like I like the Vital MTB forum because that generally has some like really interesting information. But the pink bike one, I guess it's like Jerry Springer of forums. It's
brilliant.
It's wild, yeah.
And the install process for it is the same as
it's the same process. Yeah,
cool.
again, all the same installation application stuff comes with it, and you apply it wet with some soap, squeeze it on. Yeah, it's exactly the same kind of way. Yeah.
Are they just on the sides, or does it go in between the?
It's just on the sides, usually from bead to spoke hole.
Yeah.
So it covers the side
so you
bits.
don't have to worry about wrapping it around the spoke hole.
No. Because when I first heard about this, I was like, oh no.
In terms take of all your spokes out.
Yeah, and then I saw it and I was like, that
sense,
I could manage that. Would be good with this. So it looks quite, again, just like the frame, you match the finish to your wheel finish, and it looks pretty seamless.
Yeah.
It's good.
The frame that we did is hard, which is the blue one there, which we can't talk about too much. We'll come on to that another day. But, it's got the lovely matte finish, the frame, and up close you can see it's got ride wrap on it, but from a distance you can't tell at all. So it's
What I particularly like about the matte, I always tend to somehow end up with matte finish bikes. Just how it goes. But whenever I've had them in the past and not put some frame protection on because I've been tight, you always end up polishing the top tube with your knees or any sort of protection you use when you clean it, or sort of polishes and stuff. That just weathers it better, so it always stays a matte finish. It's quite nice.
It's quite interesting because, like I say, I've used it on mountain bikes, and I didn't even think about wrapping. Like I've had a couple of road bikes, and now I look at them, I'm going, well, like my turbo bike is completely scuffed and scraped. Normally, from where I put it on a roof rack, I had an old cheap roof rack, and the claw that went
down you.
And but yeah, like you said about weathering, I always used to wear out my top tube with like my knee pads scuffing on the top tube, especially if you're in mid-air or hitting trees. That was normally my issue.
Bark's really bad for paper. But it's interesting to say about never think about sort of doing road bikes and stuff. I think traditionally, like people who make this kind of products that we do haven't have genuinely been mountain bike people and have just not been interested in doing it. But like I say, I've had a road bike since about 2007. Most like my boss Brandon, he's probably enjoys road biking slightly more. Some of the guys in Canada have got gravel bikes, and you're like, if I've got them, I want to put our stuff on them. So we just make protection for bikes. If it's a current bike, we'll make protection for it. If you want protection for it,
I haven't really come across it. A customer asked me if we could put it on his bike, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll see if that's something we can do. And then the more and more you look into it and see it, and you just think, if you're making such a big investment on the bike, and bikes aren't cheap, to add another, what is it, 160 for the
essentially for a frame on a drop bar kit. It's anything with a rigid fork. It's a frame and fork kit, so it's 160, which is whereas a mountain bike it's 110 for the frame and 50 for a tailored fork kit. So it's
about 160 quid. But yes, when you add that to the price, yes, obviously it's 160 quid more, but it is that peace of mind that it's protected.
What's it? I get the analogy my boss uses is your phone's 1,000 quid and you'll spend like 60 quid on a case and like a tenner on a screen cover, and you're like, talking a percentage wise, it's kind of cheaper on a bike.
Yeah,
it's not really many disadvantages in terms to when it's fitted either. There was at one point people were sort of saying, oh, what about the weight of it? I think we averaged out the weight of kits of how much a kit weighs, and it's somewhere around 45 to 50 grams. So like as a man that likes a 240 gram packet of Doritos on a bi-daily basis, that's not a lot of weight. It's really, and road bikes have got a lot heavier in the last 15, 20 years and stuff. So it's a tiny amount of weight. It really is. So that's not really a hurdle anymore, although maybe it is psychologically in some people's heads. But
you probably don't know, but it'd be quite interesting to know from I'm very much a cycling geek and I like numbers, but from an aero point of view,
how it affects your watts and stuff.
Yeah, I'm like it might actually be more because it would be tripping the wind to follow the curves of your bike bear.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Whether the different finishes would have a different effect, whether the slight contours between the pieces would affect.
Because like skin suits, so I race time trials, so skin suits have like the patterned shoulders and arms to trip the wind into going where it needs to be going.
This is where I need to go back to Ride Wrap HQ and say
we need to invest in a wind tunnel, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got some thoughts there. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really talk about it, but I'll tell you about it off camera.
I've got some.
I haven't even told you about this yet.
Okay.
So it's very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know the answer to that, but that is quite interesting, actually.
It's a consideration for sure.
Yeah.
It's just a few things coming to my head there.
Yeah, I might have to buy one within the next couple of weeks.
Cool. Nice. You get to spend more money. Excellent.
Yeah.
Everyone's a winner.
Yeah.
Well, you and I are.
Yeah. Your wallet, not so much.
Yeah. I'll put it on my tab.
Yeah. It's
I guess one thing to consider, maybe along those lines, is it's got sort of hydrophobic properties. So water and mud and stuff and debris tends to run off it a bit easier. It makes it quite easy to clean. But I wonder how much, so, on a particularly dirty ride where you plaster your down tube, back end of your bike with stuff, you probably end up with slightly less debris on it per ride. Whether that would help, and because that will have an effect on it.
Yeah, because so I've just ceramic coated my bike, and I couldn't believe, like, I rode to work and I got to work and just all the mud and water was just sat there on top. And you literally
rinse it off.
Well, you can literally just go, and you go, but it was you just rinse it off and.
I thought you were going to say I got to work and it's like I hadn't even tried.
No, I always try, especially on the way to work, because I'm like, I'm going to be late. Doodling around.
I lived in Birmingham at the time and I worked in Stratford-upon-Avon. It's about 25 miles away. And it was a friend's shop and I'd just finished uni. It's like, yeah, I'll work there. I didn't have a car at the time. I was like, yeah, I'll get a road bike. And oh God, it's a lot of 5 days, and then 5 or 6 days a week. You think it's only 25 miles, it's nice, but like in the middle of winter and you're always running late. God, it's, yeah.
And then you get there and you've got to do a full day's work.
Yeah, standing upright and a lot of chewing the handlebars on the way home. Yeah.
It's when you got to put your wet kit back on.
Yeah.
And it's muddy and then it's dark.
Perhaps working in a care home or a restaurant. Boiler room.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you dry it. When kit that's been wet and sweaty that's then dried is really crispy and this.
I tend to zone 1, zone 2 on the way to work, and then do a harder ride on the way back.
I try to get there on time and then get home somehow.
Yeah, I'd rather get there a little bit late and easier.
Explains a lot, Aidan.
I'm screwed if my boss watches this, am I?
I think you and me both.
I am my boss, so we're all good.
Me wanting to get out of catering might happen sooner rather than later.
So, Ollie, if someone was to buy some ride wrap, what are your top 3 tips for installing it?
The wetter the better. That's what my boss Brandon told me. The wetter the better. So always soak the piece and the bike. And if you think, have I got it wet enough, soak it more.
Yep.
If ever you're squeegeing a piece out and you're like, maybe the clarity of the film looks a bit off, peel it back, wet it again. That's probably the first one.
Yep.
Always keep the piece and the bike soaking wet. Second one would be, I guess in the winter, try and do it somewhere warm. Like this room's lovely temperature for doing it, but some bike shops, some people's houses or garages are freezing. It's essentially made of plastic, so it gets a bit. It doesn't get more rigid, but warmer is easier for it to apply, and it molds around the shapes better. And for me, going back to my age, light. Natural light's really good for me. I used to do it in my conservatory at my house because I can see. I've had a couple of bits where I've bought a new fork or a frame on a Friday night and wanted to ride it Saturday, and I've done it in artificial light in the dining room. I've done a terrible job because I can't see.
Yeah.
So good lighting, like something like that would be fantastic. So you can see the bubbles moving out. If you get any contaminants, like obviously I don't get hair, but you know, weirdly I do. I don't know where it comes from. But you know, so you can see what you're doing and you can make sure you get a really good finish and good position on all the pieces. So that would be, there's my 3 tips.
So wet, warm, and with the lights on.
Sounds like a fun night out on a Saturday.
Excellent. I could have put it there myself. That needs to be on the back of the van, doesn't it? Really?
Wet, warm, and with the lights on.
Come and talk to me for an experience about wet, warm, and with the lights on.
It already says wrap before you ride on the back of the van. I mean,
Don't be a fool and wrap at all. That's so unprofessional.
I knew I was a professional before I got here. I didn't know about you.
No, we're definitely not professional.
Fantastic.
We are when we're doing our job, but not when we're talking about it.
Yeah. I'm just not when I open my mouth, which unfortunately is all the time.
No, I think it's a great product. I think it's definitely worth investing in if you have a nice expensive bike and you want to look after it. I think if you're getting a new bike, it just makes sense to get it. I think the analogy of your phone is fantastic.
I wouldn't have thought of that, but makes sense, doesn't it?
Definitely.
How many times have you dropped your phone and then looked at it and gone, oh, thank God it's only the screen protector?
Yeah, exactly that.
And it's just sensible. And what's great is because Ollie's such a lovely chap, literally on Friday I messaged to say that the bike had arrived, and Ollie came down Monday to measure it.
I'm completely unprofessional. I just want to see a new bike.
Yeah.
That's it, now everyone will be expecting next day service.
Yeah,
But
as long as it's shiny, probably will happen. I'm
That's
not
a
kidding.
magpie.
Yeah,
But then-
basically.
Oh, shiny.
that goes off to the designers. They'll then design up the frame,
Yeah.
protecting kit,
They will, yeah.
and then it's available.
It's
on the
available, right?
website.
Yeah. The design process depends how busy those guys are, but it's usually about a week.
Yeah. And then your kit will arrive. But any bike that we get in here that you've not got in the system,
I can measure.
We'll be getting you down to measure it.
For sure. Yeah, that
Because
sounds
it
good.
just makes sense, because if you're buying a Pinarello from here, then it's probably wise to get.
Yeah, keep it looking
To
as
get it
good
right
as
wrapped.
the day you get it.
Yeah.
And they do look pretty nice, don't they?
They do.
I'll have a Pinarello Bolide ATT bike, please.
I'll just put that £45,160 on your on your tab then.
99p.
Yeah.
Do I need to get a bigger van to measure this bike?
Yeah, you might need a 18-wheeler long.
I'm not sure I'm parking that round here.
You can fit most bikes in my inner triangle.
I've got other thoughts.
Yeah,
about
I know.
that.
We're still talking about the frame, aren't we? Yeah.
But Ollie, thank you so
Thank you
much
guys.
for coming down and measuring the dogma. Thank you for agreeing to come and chat to us in this very professional podcast all about cycling.
Yes, absolutely. No, it's been good fun. Apologies for my accent. It's blame my parents.
Yeah, I've heard worse Brummy accents. So.
Thank you. I do try and
we had
hide
some
it.
friends that used to live in Hell's Owen, and they were proper.
See, that's Black Country. I'm on the border of that place. There's two competing terrible accents, first and second. It's bronze and silver, or silver and gold change each year. Two awful accents next to each other.
Don't like Black Country. I got a fine for driving for a bus lane in Black Country. Well, I didn't. I'd done a 24-hour ride from Exeter to Stratford upon Avon, and my friend driving my support car at 3 in the morning drove for a bus lane. So I made him pay for it. Side tangent.
I mean, that's a great reason not to.
That's my one time I've been up that way, and I haven't
Awful
been
experience.
Yeah.
We might be going back for another reason,
Yeah.
which will become apparent.
Because you messed up our plans.
I did, but that's another thing.
Because John can't read.
I can. I just wasn't reading the full address.
You can't read.
I'm laughing because I can't read.
Yeah.
Well, you wait until I tell you what the reason
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
I can't wait.
We'll do that off camera.
Okay.
But thank you ever so much for watching, everyone. If you've liked this, then please subscribe and hit the little bell notification so you know when this goes live and other episodes that we've recorded and not yet released.
We've got to start getting a habit of saying it at
We
the
can-
start.
yeah. Please watch the video to the end because it helps the algorithm. Yeah.
And there'll be a link in the description to Ride Wrapped,
Yeah.
so people can.
Head to the website
Head to
and
the website.
have a look, see if their bike has got ride wrap. And if anyone watching is local and is interested, you can come in and talk to me about it and I can get it in for you.
Make sure you've got at least an hour spare if you come in to talk to John.
Yep.
Because he likes to talk.
And I like to make people cups of tea and coffee, which is also...
That helps. That helps a lot, doesn't it?
That means you're here for the long run. You can soon have a cup of tea.
About an hour.
Yeah.
You have a cup of tea. Thanks very much for watching, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.